She was left crying at restaurant on anniversary. Husband never showed Mafia boss at bar. His biggest mistake. I should have known the moment I saw the empty chair. The restaurant hummed with low conversations and clinking silverware. The kind of elegant ambiance that made you whisper even when you had nothing to hide. Candlelight danced across white tablecloths, casting soft shadows that should have felt romantic. Should have. Instead, I sat alone at a table for two, watching the candle wax pool and harden, watching other couples lean close and laugh, watching my phone screen stay dark and silent. 3 years. 3 years of marriage. And Marcus couldn't even show up for our anniversary dinner. "Ma'am, would you like to order? Or—" The waiter's voice trailed off, his pity so thick I could taste it. He'd asked twice already. We both knew the answer. "Just the check, please." My voice came out steadier than I felt. For the wine. I'd already finished half the bottle alone. Liquid courage for the walk of shame I was about to take past all those happy couples, past the hostess who'd seated me with such enthusiasm an hour ago, past my own shattered expectations. The waiter nodded, retreating quickly. People always retreated from other people's humiliation. My hands shook as I pulled out my credit card. Not from the wine, from the rage building in my chest, hot and acidic. Marcus hadn't even texted, hadn't called, hadn't bothered with an excuse. I knew where he was. At the office, buried in spreadsheets and conference calls, his wedding ring probably sitting in his desk drawer like it did most days now. When had we become this? When had I become the wife who wasn't worth remembering? The check came. I signed it with enough force to tear the paper. I needed air. I needed to scream. I needed to be anywhere but here, drowning in my own pathetic disappointment. The bar next door advertised itself with a simple crimson sign. Moretti's. Dark windows, a velvet, rope, the kind of place that promised amnesia in a glass. Perfect. I pushed through the heavy door before I could talk myself out of it. The restaurant had been all soft edges and gentle lighting. This place was different, darker, the kind of darkness that wrapped around you like silk and secrets. Low jazz played from invisible speakers. The air smelled like expensive cigars and older money. Leather booths lined the walls, each one occupied by men in suits that cost more than my car. This wasn't a neighborhood bar. This was something else entirely. I should have left. Instead, I walked to the bar and slid onto a stool. My red dress, the one I'd bought specifically for tonight, suddenly feeling too bright, too desperate. "What can I get you?" The bartender appeared like smoke, all efficient movements and knowing eyes. "Something strong, something that makes you forget. I've got just the thing." His smile was practiced, professional. "Rough night?" You could say that. I watched him work, grateful he didn't push for details. "Do you believe in signs?" "Depends on the sign. Empty chairs, silent phones, 3 years of trying with someone who stopped seeing you somewhere along the way." The words tumbled out, loosened by wine and wounded pride. "I think the universe is telling me I'm a fool. Then the universe doesn't know what it's talking about." The voice came from beside me, low, dark, with an edge that raised every hair on my arms. I turned. And the air changed. He sat 2 stools away, but his presence filled the entire space. Tall, maybe mid-30s, with black hair pushed back from a face that belonged on Roman coins, all sharp angles and calculated beauty. But it was his eyes that stopped my breath. Gray, like storm clouds, like steel, like something that could cut you open and not even blink. He wore a 3-piece suit in midnight blue, tailored so perfectly it looked like a weapon. Power radiated from him the way heat rises from asphalt. Dangerous. That was the first word that came to mind. The second was magnificent. "Excuse me?" I managed. He turned fully toward me, and I felt the weight of his complete attention like a physical thing. I said, "The universe doesn't know what it's talking about. Any man who would leave you sitting alone in a restaurant is either a fool or already dead." Something about the way he said dead made it sound less like hyperbole and more like an option he'd personally considered. "You don't know me." "No." His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "But I know when something valuable is being wasted. And you, sitting here in that dress, drinking alone because someone didn't have the sense to show up?" He paused, his gaze traveling over me with an intensity that should have felt invasive, but somehow felt like being seen for the first time in years. "That's a crime." Heat flooded my cheeks. "You're very confident for a stranger." "I'm confident because I'm right." He shifted, closing the distance between us by 1 stool. close enough now that I could smell his cologne, cedar and smoke, and something darker. "What's your name?" I should have lied. Every instinct I had said this man was dangerous, that getting involved with him would be like stepping off a cliff. But the wine was warm in my veins, and Marcus hadn't shown up, and this stranger was looking at me like I mattered. "Elena," I whispered. "Elena Castellano." Something flickered in those storm-gray eyes. Recognition? Interest? It vanished too quickly to name. "Elena." He said my name like he was tasting it, learning its shape. "I'm Dante. Just Dante. No last name. Like he didn't need one." The bartender appeared with my drink, something amber and dangerous in a crystal glass. Dante waved him away before he could speak, producing a black card that made the bartender's eyes widen. "Her tab is on me tonight. And tomorrow night. And every night after that if she wants. That's not necessary. Consider it an apology on behalf of disappointing men everywhere." His eyes held mine, and there was something in them now, something that made my pulse hammer. "Tell me, Elena, does he do this often? Make you wait?" I should have defended Marcus, should have smiled and said it was a misunderstanding, should have been a loyal wife. "Yes," I admitted instead, and the word felt like treason and truth in equal measure. Dante's jaw tightened, and for just a second, I saw something lethal flash across his face. Then it was gone, replaced by that careful control. "Then tonight," he said quietly, leaning closer, "let him wonder where you are. And God help me, sitting there in that dark bar with this dangerous stranger, feeling more alive than I had in 3 years of marriage." I thought, yes. The door behind us opened. I felt Dante go absolutely still beside me, his entire body shifting into something predatory and alert. 3 men entered, their suits sharp, their eyes sharper. They saw Dante and stopped. One of them whispered something that sounded like Moretti, the same name as the bar. Dante's hand found mine on the bar top, his fingers warm and sure and somehow possessive. "Elena," he murmured, his voice dropping to something almost gentle. "I need you to trust me for the next 60 seconds. Can you do that?" I looked into those storm-gray eyes and saw whatever he was hiding there, something powerful and violent and barely contained. "Who are you?" I breathed. His thumb traced across my knuckles, and his smile was beautiful and terrible. "Someone who just made your husband's betrayal the luckiest thing that ever happened to you." The men at the door moved closer, and I realized, too late, that I'd just walked out of one cage and straight into the arms of something far more dangerous. Dante's hand tightened around mine, not painful, but firm, possessive. The 3 men approaching wore their suits like uniforms, their movements synchronized in a way that screamed training. Military? Private security? Something worse? Mr. Moretti. The one in front spoke first, his accent thick with Brooklyn roots. "Didn't expect to see you here tonight. Vincent." Dante's voice dropped 20 degrees. "I own the place. Where else would I be? Own the place." Of course he did. Men like Dante didn't just frequent establishments, they controlled them. Vincent's eyes slid to me, assessing. "We have business to discuss. Private business. Then discuss it tomorrow." Dante's thumb continued its slow path across my knuckles, but everything else about him had gone rigid. "I'm occupied. It's about the Russo shipment. Carlos is getting impatient," I said. "Tomorrow." Each word landed like a bullet. The air crackled with tension so thick I could barely breathe. Vincent's jaw worked, but he nodded once, sharp and military precise. His companions backed toward the door. "Tomorrow morning, 10 sharp." Vincent's gaze flickered to me one last time. Something, calculating in his expression. "Don't be late." They left, but the danger didn't leave with them. It stayed, radiating from Dante like heat from a furnace. I tried to pull my hand back. His fingers tightened. "Not yet," he murmured. "They're watching through the window." "Who are they? Who are you?" My voice came out steadier than I felt. "What kind of business requires that level of... the kind you shouldn't ask about?" He finally released my hand, but immediately signaled the bartender. "Anthony, lock the front door. We're closed for the night." "Yes, sir." The bartender moved instantly, no questions asked. My heart hammered against my ribs. "I should go. You should stay." Dante turned those storm-gray eyes back to me, and they were softer now, almost gentle. "At least until I'm certain they're gone. Vincent is loyal, but his men..." He trailed off, his expression darkening. "Let's just say not everyone in my organization has the same code of conduct." "Your organization." I laughed. but it sounded hollow even to me. God, I'm an idiot. I walked into a mob bar, didn't I? This is a mob bar. We prefer the term family business. His lips quirked. Mob sounds so pedestrian. This isn't funny. I stood, suddenly desperate for air, for space, for my boring, predictable life, where my biggest problem was a neglectful husband. Not Dante caught my wrist, gentle but unmovable. Elena, breathe. Let me go. I will. I promise. Just breathe first. His voice dropped, becoming something almost hypnotic. In through your nose, out through your mouth. That's it. I hated that it worked. Hated that his calm authority made my racing heart slow, made my panicked breathing even out. Good. He released me slowly, like I was a frightened animal that might bolt. Now sit, please. I'm not going to hurt you. How do I know that? Because if I wanted to hurt you, I already would have. The words should have been terrifying. Instead, they were oddly reassuring. I have many faults, Elena. But lying to women in bars isn't one of them. I sat. Not because I trusted him, but because my legs were shaking too hard to carry me. The bartender Anthony appeared with 2 glasses of water. He set them down without a word and disappeared into the back. Drink, Dante ordered quietly. I did. The cold water helped, washing away some of the wine fog, bringing horrible clarity. I need to call my husband. Do you? Dante's expression went carefully blank. The same husband who left you crying at a restaurant on your anniversary? The one who's probably still at the office, not even realizing what he's lost tonight? That's not fair. None of this is fair. He leaned forward, elbows on the bar, and suddenly we were close enough that I could see the flecks of silver in those gray eyes. You came in here heartbroken and alone. I offered you a drink and conversation. That's all this was supposed to be. But it's not all it is it? I met his gaze directly. Those men. The way everyone in here jumps when you speak. The way you talk about violence like it's weather. You're not just some businessman, Dante. You're something else. Yes, no hesitation, no pretty lies. I am. What exactly? He studied me for a long moment, something like respect flickering across his face. Most people don't ask. They either know and they're terrified, or they don't know and they stay blissfully ignorant. I'm not most people. No, he agreed softly. You're really not. He picked up his own water glass, rolling it between his palms. My family controls everything from the waterfront to the Diamond District. Shipping, real estate, certain imports and exports that don't make it onto official manifests. We've been doing it for 4 generations. You're a crime lord. I prefer businessman with flexible ethics. That not quite smile again, but yes. If you want to use the crude terminology. I should have run. Should have called the police. Called Marcus. Called anyone. Instead, I asked, why tell me? Why not just let me leave thinking you were some rich guy with boundary issues? Because you asked. Because you deserve honesty after being lied to by omission. For how long has your marriage been falling apart? A year? 2? The accuracy of his guess knocked the breath from my lungs. 3, I whispered. 3 years of marriage, and probably 2.5 of him slowly checking out. I just didn't want to admit it. And tonight was the final confirmation. Yes. The word cracked in the middle. Dante's hand found mine again, and this time I didn't pull away. His thumb traced absent patterns across my skin, and the gesture was so intimate, so tender, that tears burned behind my eyes. Here's what's going to happen, he said quietly. You're going to finish your water. Then Anthony is going to call you a car, one of mine, with a driver I trust. He'll take you home safely. No strings, no obligations. And then, you're going to wake up tomorrow and decide if tonight was a moment of weakness you need to forget. He paused, his eyes holding mine with an intensity that made my breath catch. Or if it was the universe finally giving you what you deserve, which is someone who shows up. The words hit like a physical blow. Simple, devastating, true. My phone buzzed in my purse. I pulled it out with shaking hands. Marcus, sorry babe. Meeting ran late. Can we reschedule? Not, I'm sorry I missed our anniversary. Not, I'm sorry I left you waiting. Just a casual suggestion to reschedule. Sent 2 hours after our reservation, like I was a dentist appointment he'd forgotten. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. Dante said nothing. He didn't need to. I don't even know if I love him anymore. I admitted, the confession tearing out of me. Isn't that terrible? I'm sitting here with a stranger, a dangerous stranger, and all I can think is that you've made me feel more seen in 30 minutes than my husband has in a year. That's not terrible. That's honest. Dante's voice was velvet over steel. And for what it's worth, Elena, your husband is the biggest fool I've ever heard of. I laughed, and it came out half sob. You don't even know me. I know enough. He stood, pulling a card from his pocket, matte black with silver lettering. Just a phone number, no name. This is my private line. If you need anything, if you feel unsafe, if you just need to talk to someone who won't make you feel crazy for feeling what you feel. I took the card. It felt heavy, weighted with implications and possibilities and danger. Why are you doing this? I asked. Why do you care about some random woman having a bad anniversary? Dante's expression shifted into something raw, something almost vulnerable, because once upon a time, someone I loved was left waiting, and no one was there to make sure she got home safe. His jaw tightened. She didn't make it home that night. So now, when I see a woman alone and hurting, I make sure she does. The grief in his voice was old but not healed. A wound that had scarred but still ached. I'm sorry, I whispered. Don't be. Just promise me you'll use that number if you need it. I promise. He nodded, then raised his hand. Anthony appeared instantly with my coat and purse. Cars waiting out front. Mrs. Castellano, Anthony said gently. I'll walk you out. Mrs. Castellano. The name felt wrong now, like a coat that no longer fit. I stood, and Dante stood with me. For a moment we just looked at each other, this dangerous, magnetic stranger and me, the abandoned wife who'd stumbled into his world. Thank you, I said. Don't thank me yet. His smile was sad, knowing. I have a feeling we're not done, Elena. Not by a long shot. The words should have sounded like a threat. They sounded like a promise. Anthony led me to the door, but I looked back once. Dante stood at the bar, backlit and beautiful and terrifying, watching me leave with an expression I couldn't read. The car was exactly what I expected. Black, expensive, windows tinted dark enough to hide sins. The driver opened my door without a word. I slid inside, and the door closed with a heavy final thunk. My phone buzzed again. Marcus, don't be mad. I'll make it up to you. I looked at the message, looked at the card in my hand with its single phone number, and I realized that tonight, the trajectory of my entire life had shifted. I just didn't know yet if I was falling or flying. I didn't sleep. How could I, with Dante's card burning a hole in my nightstand drawer and Marcus snoring peacefully beside me, oblivious to the fact that his wife had spent her anniversary in a mob bar with a man whose eyes promised both salvation and damnation? Marcus had been asleep when I got home. Of course he had. Probably came back from the office, microwaved leftovers, and passed out watching ESPN highlights. The same routine he'd followed for months. I'd stood in our bedroom doorway for 10 minutes, just watching him sleep, and felt absolutely nothing. That was the worst part. Not anger anymore. Not even disappointment. Just a vast, echoing emptiness where love used to live. At 6 a.m., I gave up on sleep and made coffee. The kitchen was spotless. I'd stress cleaned it yesterday before getting ready for our anniversary dinner. Such optimism felt like a lifetime ago. Morning. Marcus shuffled in, already checking his phone, hair sticking up in all directions. He looked tired. He always looked tired now. Morning. He grabbed the coffee I'd poured for him without looking up. About last night. Don't. That made him glance up, confusion flickering across his face. Don't what? Don't apologize. Don't make excuses. Just don't. I wrapped both hands around my mug, needing something to hold on to. It's fine. Elena, come on. I said I'd make it up to you. How? The word came out sharper than I intended. How exactly are you going to make up 3 years of forgotten dinners and canceled plans and me sitting alone waiting for someone who never shows up? Marcus set down his phone, finally giving me his full attention. That's not fair. You know how demanding my job is. I know you use your job as an excuse to avoid being present in our marriage. Silence, heavy and accusing. Where is this coming from? His voice took on that careful, measured tone he used when he thought I was being irrational. Is this about last night? Because I really couldn't get away. It's about every night, Marcus. It's about the fact that we live in the same house, but we're not really married anymore. We're just coexisting, going through the motions. He stared at me like I'd started speaking a foreign language. Are you saying you want a divorce? Did I? 24 hours ago. The thought would have terrified me. Now, standing in our kitchen that didn't feel like ours anymore, I felt nothing but tired. I'm saying I need time to think. Think about what? About whether the cage I've been living in is worth the safety it provides. About whether settling for someone who treats me like an obligation is worse than being alone. About whether a dangerous stranger's attention for 30 minutes felt more real than 3 years with you. Everything, I said instead. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. Frustrated. Look, I have a meeting in 40 minutes. Can we table this until tonight? We'll talk properly, okay? Order in. Open some wine. You mean you'll actually be home? His jaw tightened. That's not fair. Neither is forgetting your wife exists. He grabbed his coffee and his phone, moving toward the door. I don't have time for this right now. We'll talk later. And just like that, he was gone. No kiss goodbye. No actual acknowledgement of the problem. Just escape, masked as responsibility. I stood in the empty kitchen and felt the walls closing in. My phone sat on the counter, silent and accusatory. Next to it, pulled from my purse this morning in a moment of weakness, was Dante's card. I picked it up, running my thumb over the embossed numbers. If you need anything, if you feel unsafe, if you just need to talk to someone who won't make you feel crazy. I was being crazy, wasn't I? Considering calling a mobster because my marriage was falling apart. That was insane. Reckless. Dangerous. I put the card down, picked it up again. Put it down. Stop it, I muttered to myself. You're not actually going to call him. My phone buzzed, making me jump. Unknown number. My heart hammered as I answered. Hello? Good morning, Elena. Dante's voice low, dark, impossibly intimate even through the phone sent heat flooding through me. How did you get this number? I managed. You gave it to Anthony when he called your car service. For safety reasons. A pause. I hope you don't mind. I wanted to make sure you got home safely. I did. Your driver was very professional. Good. I could hear the smile in his voice. And how are you this morning? Did you sleep? The question was simple, but the concern behind it felt genuine. When was the last time someone had actually asked if I was okay and waited for a real answer? No, I admitted. I didn't sleep at all. Neither did I. Something shifted in his tone, becoming softer. I kept thinking about you, about whether you were safe, whether you were okay. I'm fine. You're a terrible liar. Gentle amusement now. It's one of the things I like about you. You don't know me well enough to like anything about me. I know you're honest even when it hurts. I know you have more strength than you give yourself credit for, and I know that you deserve so much better than what you're getting. He paused. Am I wrong? Tears burned behind my eyes. No. Then have coffee with me. What? Today. This morning. There's a cafe in Brooklyn Heights Russos, on Montague Street. Small, quiet, excellent espresso. Meet me there in an hour. I can't. Why not? Because it's wrong. Because I'm married. Because you're dangerous. And I'm already teetering on the edge of something that could destroy everything. Because I don't know you, I said instead. Then let me fix that. 1 hour, 1 coffee. If you decide you never want to see me again after that, I'll respect it. His voice dropped lower, more intimate. But I think you need to get out of that house. Away from the ghosts of expectations and disappointments, even if it's just for an hour. He was right. The walls were suffocating me. This is crazy, I whispered. The best things usually are. I heard movement on his end, footsteps maybe. Elena, I'm not asking you to run away with me. I'm asking you to have coffee with someone who sees you. That's all. That's not all and you know it. No, he agreed quietly. It's not, but it's a start. My hand trembled around the phone. Every rational part of my brain screamed that this was a mistake. That getting involved with a difference. Man like Dante Moretti was like playing with fire while standing in a pool of gasoline. But the alternative was staying here, in this sterile kitchen, in this dying marriage, in this half-life, where I'd convinced myself that being forgotten was normal. 1 hour, I heard myself say. Just coffee. Just coffee, he agreed, but I could hear the satisfaction in his voice. I'll text you the address. Elena? Yes? Thank you for trusting me. He hung up before I could tell him that trust had nothing to do with it. Desperation, maybe. Recklessness, definitely. But trust? I was walking into the wolf's den with my eyes wide open, And God help me, I couldn't wait. I changed 3 times before settling on jeans and a cream sweater casual enough to be deniable, nice enough to feel put together. My wedding ring felt heavy on my finger. I twisted it absently, then stopped. Left it on. The cafe was exactly as Dante had described, small, tucked between a bookstore and a flower shop, with ivy, climbing the brick exterior. Through the window, I could see worn leather chairs and mismatched tables that gave it a cozy, lived-in feel. Nothing like the dark sophistication of Moretti's bar. Dante sat at a corner table, and even in this soft, morning-lit space, he looked dangerous. Black sweater, dark jeans, that same coiled power that seemed to follow him like a shadow. He was reading a newspaper, an actual physical newspaper, and sipping espresso from a tiny cup. He looked up the moment I walked in, like he'd felt my presence. Those storm-gray eyes locked onto mine, and a slow smile curved his lips. "You came. I said I would. People say a lot of things they don't mean." He stood, pulling out my chair with old-world courtesy that felt natural on him, especially to men like me. I sat, hyper-aware of his proximity as he returned to his own seat. The table was small. Our knees almost touched. "What exactly do you mean by men like you?" I asked. "Men who live in the dark. Men who make their living from violence and fear." He set down his newspaper. "Men your mother warned you about." "My mother's dead." Something flickered in his eyes, pain, recognition, understanding. "Mine too. 5 years ago. Cancer. I'm sorry." "So am I," he signaled the barista, who appeared instantly with a knowing smile. "2 cappuccinos, Maria. And some of those lemon cookies she loves." Maria's eyes widened slightly at the casual use of she, but she nodded and disappeared. "You don't know if I like lemon cookies," I pointed out. "You do. You ordered lemon cake at the restaurant last night. I saw the dessert menu on your table when I walked past. Before I went into the bar. Before I saw you sitting there alone, trying not to cry." His gaze was steady, unflinching. I almost kept walking, almost convinced myself it wasn't my business. But I couldn't. "Something about you." "What?" The word came out breathless. "Made me want to be better than I am." The confession hung between us, raw and honest. Maria returned with our coffees and cookies, her smile warm and maternal. "Good to see you with company, Mr. Moretti. You spend too much time alone." "I'm working on that, Maria." She patted his shoulder and left us. I wrapped my hands around the warm cup, needing something to ground me. "Does everyone in Brooklyn know who you are?" "Most people. The smart ones, anyway." He took a sip of his espresso. "Does it scare you?" "Yes." "Good. It should." He leaned forward slightly. "I'm not going to lie to you, Elena. I'm not a good man. I've done things that would make you lose sleep. I've made choices that cost lives. I live in a world where loyalty is currency and violence is language. Then why am I here? Because, despite all of that, or maybe because of it, I understand what it's like to feel trapped. To wake up one day and realize the life you're living isn't the one you wanted. To be surrounded by people but feel completely alone." His voice dropped. "I see that in you, and it kills me." A tear slipped down my cheek before I could stop it. Dante reached across the table, his thumb catching the tear with surprising gentleness. "Don't cry. Not over someone who doesn't deserve your tears." "I don't even know if I'm crying about Marcus anymore," I admitted. "Maybe I'm crying about wasted time. About all the years I convinced myself that quiet disappointment was the same as contentment." "It's not too late, Elena. It's never too late to choose differently. Even if choosing differently means choosing something dangerous." His eyes held mine, and there was no humor in them now. Only intensity. Only truth. Especially then. My phone buzzed. I ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. With a sigh, I glanced at the screen. "Marcus, where are you? I need you to pick up my dry cleaning. Client dinner tonight. Not are you okay? Not, I'm sorry about this morning. Just another errand. Another task on his invisible honey-do list." I set the phone, face down on the table. Dante's jaw tightened. "Say the word, Elena. One word, and he'll never treat you like hired help again." The darkness in his voice should have terrified me. It didn't. "What word?" I whispered. He leaned closer, his eyes holding mine captive. "Mine." The word hung between us like a loaded gun. Mine. Not a question. Not a suggestion. A claim. "I'm married," I said, but my voice wavered. "Are you?" Dante's gaze dropped to my left hand, to the ring that suddenly felt like a shackle. "Because, from where I'm sitting, You're a woman who's been abandoned. There's a difference between wearing a ring and being someone's wife. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair. He sat back, but his eyes never left mine. You want me to be noble? To tell you to go home and work on your marriage? To forget about last night and pretend we never met? Yes, I whispered. That's exactly what you should do. I can't. Why not? Because I've spent my entire life being disciplined, controlled, making strategic decisions based on logic and leverage. His voice dropped, becoming almost rough. And then you walked into my bar in that red dress, with heartbreak in your eyes. And for the first time in 15 years, I didn't want to be strategic. I wanted to be reckless. My heart hammered against my ribs. Dante, I lay awake all night thinking about you. About your husband sitting in some office while you cried alone. About how any man who has you and doesn't worship the ground you walk on deserves to lose you. He leaned forward again, close enough that I could see the silver flecks in his eyes. I don't make promises I can't keep, Elena. But I promise you this, give me a chance, and I'll show you what it's like to be someone's priority. Their obsession, their everything. You don't even know me. Then let me learn. His hand moved across the table, palm up, an invitation. Let me take you to dinner. A proper one, where you won't sit alone, wondering if you matter. I stared at his hand, broad, strong, with scars across the knuckles that told stories I probably didn't want to hear. A hand that had dealt violence. A hand that was offering me something my husband hadn't in years. Attention, desire, choice. This is wrong, I said. Probably. I should go home. You should. His hand didn't move. But you won't. Because you're tired of should. Tired of being good and patient and understanding while life passes you by. He was right. God, he was so right, it hurt. My phone buzzed again. Marcus, undoubtedly wondering where his dry cleaning was. I reached across the table and placed my hand in Dante's. His fingers closed around mine, warm and sure, and something in his expression softened. There she is. I'm probably making a huge mistake. The best decisions always feel that way at first. He stood, pulling me up with him. Come on. I want to show you something. Where? Do you trust me? No. He smiled a real smile. This time, not that careful half-curve. Smart woman. But come anyway. We walked through Brooklyn Heights. Dante's hand never leaving mine. People moved out of his way instinctively, sensing the danger he carried like a second skin. But with me, he was different. Gentler. Where are we going? I asked as he led me down a tree-lined street of brownstones. Somewhere I go when the world gets too loud. We stopped in front of a small art gallery tucked between two larger buildings. The window displayed abstract paintings, bold strokes of color that looked like emotion made visible. You like art? I asked, surprised. My mother was a painter, before she married my father, before she became Mrs. Moretti, and everything that entailed. He pushed open the door, a small bell chiming. She used to bring me here when I was a kid. Said art was the only honest thing in our world. The gallery was empty except for an elderly woman behind the counter. Her face lit up when she saw Dante. Dante! It's been too long, Caro. Lucia. He bent to kiss both her cheeks, and the gesture was so tender, so un-mobster-like, that it made my chest ache. This is Elena. Elena Lucia was my mother's best friend. Lucia's sharp eyes assessed me, and I felt like I was being x-rayed. Elena. Pretty name. You're not his usual type. I'm not his anything, I said quickly. We're just getting to know each other, Dante finished smoothly. Can we have the back room? Lucia's expression shifted into something knowing and fond. Of course. Take all the time you need. She handed him a key. Your mother would have liked her, you know. She had good instincts about people. Dante's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Thank you. He led me through the gallery to a door at the back. The key turned with a soft click, and we stepped into a smaller room lined with paintings. But these weren't for sale. These were personal. My mother's work, Dante said quietly. Lucia keeps them here, says they're too precious to sell, even though they're worth a fortune now. I moved closer, studying the paintings. They were beautiful bursts of color and light that somehow contained shadow, joy tinged with sorrow, love touched by loss. She was incredibly talented. She was trapped. Dante stood beside me, his voice distant. My father loved her in his way. But love in our world comes with chains. She painted because it was the only freedom she had left. That's heartbreaking. It's reality. For women in my world, at least. He turned to me. That's why I brought you here. Why I needed you to see this. So you understand that I know what it's like to watch someone you care about suffocate in a life that doesn't fit them anymore. Your mother died still wearing her chains, still pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. His eyes met mine, raw with old pain. I was 17, old enough to see what was killing her, too young to stop it. I'm sorry. Don't be. Just don't let it be. He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. The gesture was so intimate, so careful, that I forgot to breathe. Don't waste your life waiting for someone to see you, Elena. You're already visible. You're already enough. Tears spilled over, and I couldn't stop them. He used to see me, in the beginning. I don't know when that changed. It doesn't matter when. It matters that it did. Dante's thumb brushed away my tears. And it matters what you do about it. What am I supposed to do? Just leave? Throw away 3 years of marriage because I had coffee with a stranger? I'm not a stranger anymore. He stepped closer, and suddenly the small room felt smaller. And yes, walk away. Life's too short to spend it with someone who makes you feel invisible, says the man who lives a life where people die for crossing him. I never said I was a good role model for life. Choices. His smile was dark, self-aware. But I know what I want, and I go after it. What do you want? He cupped my face with both hands, his touch devastatingly gentle for someone so dangerous. Right now? To kiss you. To show you what it feels like when someone wants you so badly they can barely think straight. To make you forget, just for a moment, about rings and vows and all the reasons this is a terrible idea. My breath caught. Dante. Tell me no. His voice was rough, barely controlled. Tell me to stop, and I will. I'll walk you back to your car. I'll never call again. I'll be nothing but a strange moment you had when your life fell apart. I can't. Can't what? Can't tell me no? His forehead pressed against mine. Or can't walk away? Both. The word was barely a whisper. Neither. I don't know anymore. Then let me help you figure it out. He kissed me, soft at first, questioning. His lips against mine were warm and sure and tasted like espresso in danger. I should have pulled away. Should have remembered Marcus, remembered my vows, remembered all the reasons this was wrong. Instead, I kissed him back. The moment I did, something shifted. The kiss deepened, becoming urgent and desperate and inevitable. His hands tangled in my hair. My fingers gripped his sweater. The world narrowed to this, the taste of him, the feel of him, the way he kissed me like I was air and he'd been drowning. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. I'm going to hell, I whispered. We both are. His thumb traced my swollen bottom lip. But God, Elena, worth it. My phone buzzed insistently in my pocket, reality crashing back in. I pulled it out with shaking hands. Marcus, where are you? I've been calling for an hour. The Hendersons are coming to dinner and the house is a mess. You need to come home now. Not, are you okay? Not, I'm worried. Just demands and expectations and the assumption that I existed solely to make his life easier. I looked up at Dante, still standing close enough to kiss again, and saw my future in his storm gray eyes. 2 paths, 2 choices, 2 completely different lives. Safe, predictable, slowly dying, or dangerous, reckless, intensely alive. I need to go home, I said. Disappointment flickered across his face, but he nodded. I understand. No, I took a breath. I need to go home and end my marriage. And then, my voice shook, but I forced the words out. And then I need you to take me to dinner. That proper one you promised. Dante's eyes went dark, intense. Elena, be sure, once you start this, once you cross this line with me, there's no going back. My world is dangerous. I know. You've told me. I stepped closer. But you know what else is dangerous? Dying slowly in a marriage that's already over. At least with you, I'll feel something. You'll feel everything, he promised darkly. I'll make sure of it. He walked me back to my car, his hand possessive at the small of my back. Before I got in, he pulled me close one more time. Call me tonight, he murmured against my ear. After. Let me know you're safe. I will. And Elena? His arms tightened around me. If he tries to convince you to stay, if he suddenly remembers how to be a husband, remember this, remember how alive you felt today. Remember that you deserve to feel this way every day, not just when someone's afraid of losing you. I nodded, not trusting my voice. He kissed me once more, hard and claiming, then stepped back. I drove home with swollen lips and a racing heart, and the certain knowledge that I was about to blow up my entire life, and I couldn't wait. The house looked exactly as I'd left it this morning. Same beige walls, same perfectly staged furniture, same suffocating silence that pretended to be peace. It had never felt less like home. Marcus's car was in the driveway. I sat in mine for a long moment, gathering courage, tasting Dante's kiss on my lips one last time before walking into the war zone. Inside, Marcus was in the kitchen, stress cooking. Pots bubbled on the stove, vegetables sat half-chopped on the counter, and he was frantically wiping down surfaces that were already clean. Finally, he snapped without looking up. "Where the hell have you been? The Hendersons are coming in 2 hours and nothing's ready. I'm leaving you." The words came out steady, final. No room for negotiation. Marcus froze mid-wipe, then slowly turned to face me. "What? I'm leaving. This marriage, this life, all of it." I set my purse on the counter with trembling hands. "I can't do this anymore." He stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "Are you serious right now?" "Elena, I have clients coming for dinner. Can we not do this right now?" The casual dismissal, the assumption that my feelings could be scheduled around his convenience, it crystallized everything I'd been feeling into sharp, cutting clarity. "That's exactly the problem, Marcus. Your clients, your schedule, your career, your everything." My voice rose despite my efforts to stay calm. "When was the last time you asked what I wanted, what I needed?" "Oh, here we go." He threw down the dish towel. "Is this about last night again?" I said I was sorry. "You didn't, actually. You said you'd make it up to me. That's not the same thing." I crossed my arms, holding myself together. "And it's not just about last night. It's about every night, every morning, every moment of every day where I've felt like a ghost in my own marriage." "That's dramatic, even for you." The condescension in his tone, like I was being hysterical, irrational, made something snap inside me. "I met someone," I said. That got his attention. His face went pale, then red. "You what?" "Last night, after you didn't show up, after I sat alone in that restaurant for an hour wondering if my husband even remembered I existed." The words tumbled out, gaining momentum. "I met someone who looked at me like I mattered, who asked if I was okay, who made me feel seen for the first time in years." "You're cheating on me?" His voice climbed several octaves. "You're actually standing here, in our house, telling me you're having an affair?" I kissed him. Once. Today. I met his eyes, refusing to look away. And in that single kiss, I felt more alive than I have in our entire marriage. Marcus's face twisted with rage, and something else wounded pride. "Maybe. Not heartbreak. Never heartbreak." "Who is he? Someone from your book club? Your yoga class?" "Jesus. Elena, I knew you were lonely, but I didn't think you'd actually." "His name is Dante Moretti." The color drained from Marcus's face. Complete, absolute shock. "Moretti?" His voice came out strangled. "As in the Moretti crime family? The mob?" "He prefers businessman with flexible ethics." I almost smiled at the memory. "But yes. Are you insane?" Marcus grabbed the counter like his legs might give out. "Do you have any idea who those people are? What they do?" "I know exactly who he is. He's been honest with me from the beginning, which is more than number. I can say for you." "Honest?" "Elena, he's a criminal. He probably kills people. And you kill me a little bit every day." The words were quiet, but they landed like bombs. At least with him, I'd die knowing I was alive first. Marcus stared at me, and for the first time since I'd met him 7 years ago, he looked genuinely shaken. "You can't be serious. This is crazy. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking more clearly than I have in years." "Elena." He reached for me, and I stepped back. The hurt that flashed across his face was real, but too little, too late. "Please, don't do this. We can fix this. I'll take time off work. We'll go to counseling. Whatever you need. I needed you to show up last night. I needed you to remember our anniversary. I needed you to choose me, just once, over your career." Tears burned my eyes, but I wouldn't let them fall. Not now. I needed you to love me enough to see that I was drowning. But you didn't. So you're just gonna throw away 3 years of marriage? For what? For some gangster who's probably using you? Maybe he is. I grabbed my purse, suddenly desperate to leave, to breathe, to escape these walls. But at least when he looks at me, he sees someone worth using. You look at me and see furniture. That's not true, isn't it? I turned back at the doorway. When was the last time we made love, Marcus? When was the last time you kissed me goodbye? When was the last time you asked about my day and actually listened to the answer? His silence was damning. That's what I thought. I pulled off my wedding ring. It came off easily, like it had been waiting for this moment. I set it on the hall table with a small, final click. I'll come back for my things when you're not here. My lawyer will contact you. Elena, wait. But I was already out the door, already moving toward my car, already leaving behind the ghost of who I used to be. My phone rang before I even made it to the street. Dante, I answered, and his voice wrapped around me like armor. Are you okay? I did it, I told him. My voice shook. I took off my ring. Where are you? Leaving. I can't stay here another minute. Come to me. Not a question, a command. I'm texting you an address. Come to me, Elena. Let me take care of you. Dante, my voice broke. I don't know what I'm doing. I just blew up my entire life. No, you just started living it. His voice was steel and velvet. Now come to me. Let me show you that you made the right choice. The address led me to a building in Manhattan's financial district. Modern, sleek, the kind of place that screamed money and power. The doorman took one look at me, tear-stained and shaking, and immediately picked up his phone. Miss Castellano? Yes. Mr. Moretti is expecting you. Penthouse level. He gestured to a private elevator. Use this one. It goes directly to his apartment. I stepped into the elevator, watching the numbers climb. My reflection in the 5 mirrored walls showed a woman I barely recognized, wild-eyed, flushed, free. The doors opened directly into Dante's apartment, and it was breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Manhattan, the city spreading out like scattered diamonds. The space was all clean lines and dark wood, masculine and sophisticated without being cold. Art on the walls, some of it, I realized with a start, looked like his mother's work. Dante stood by the windows, backlit by the sunset. He'd changed dark slacks, white shirt rolled to his elbows, revealing strong forearms marked with more of those scars. He turned when he heard the elevator, and the look in his eyes made my knees weak. Relief, desire, possession. You came. You asked me to. I stepped into the apartment, and the elevator doors closed behind me with a quiet hiss. I didn't know where else to go. You're here. That's all that matters. He crossed the space between us in 3 long strides, pulling me into his arms. Tell me what, and I did. I told him everything: Marcus's dismissal, the fight, the moment I took off my ring. Dante held me through all of it, one hand stroking my hair, the other pressed against my back like he could hold me together through sheer will. You're so brave, he murmured when I finished. Do you know that? Walking away from safety, from the known, even when it's killing you, that takes real courage. I don't feel brave. I feel terrified. Good. That means you're alive. He pulled back just enough to look at me, cupping my face in his hands. Elena, I need you to understand something. I'm not a rebound. I'm not a mistake you'll regret in the morning. If you stay with me tonight, if you let this happen, you're mine. Completely. Do you understand? My heart hammered. What does that mean? It means I protect what's mine. It means anyone who tries to hurt you answers to me. It means I'll worship you, possess you, consume you. His voice dropped to something dark and reverent. It means you'll never feel invisible again. But it also means you're entering my world. And my world is dangerous. I know. Do you? Do you? His grip tightened slightly. Your husband knows my name now. He'll tell people. There will be consequences. Judgment. Danger. I don't care. You should. But I don't. I pressed closer, feeling the solid strength of him. I've spent 3 years being careful, being good, being everything I was supposed to be. And I was miserable. So maybe it's time to be reckless. Something flared in his eyes, heat and hunger and barely restrained control. If I kiss you now, I won't stop. I'll take you to my bed and show you exactly what it means to be mine. Last chance to run, Elena. I reached up, threading my fingers through his dark hair. I'm done running. He kissed me like he was claiming me. like he was branding me. His hands were everywhere, my face, my waist, tangling in my hair. I matched him, desperate and fearless, tasting the danger and desire on his lips. "Bedroom," he growled against my mouth. "Now." He lifted me effortlessly, my legs wrapping around his waist as he carried me through the apartment. I caught glimpses of expensive furniture, more art, a life built on power and secrets. Then we were in his bedroom, all dark wood and crisp white sheets and windows overlooking the city, and he was laying me down like I was something precious. "Last chance," he repeated, hovering over me. "After this, you're mine. Say it." I looked up at this dangerous, beautiful man who'd given me back my life in the span of 24 hours. "I'm yours." His smile was pure sin. "Good girl." And then he proceeded to show me exactly what I'd been missing. Hours later, I lay wrapped in Dante's arms, the city lights painting patterns on the ceiling. My body ached in the best way. My heart felt too full. "What happens now?" I whispered. His arms tightened around me. "Now? We deal with the fallout. Your divorce, the attention, my world brings, all of it. Together. He pressed a kiss to my temple. "I told you, Elena. I protect what's mine, and you're mine now. Let anyone try to take you from me." My phone buzzed on the nightstand. I ignored it. It buzzed again, and again. With a sigh, Dante reached over and grabbed it, glancing at the screen. His expression went dark. "What?" I asked. "Your husband. 23 missed calls. 50 texts." He showed me the screen. "He's threatening to go to the police. Says I kidnapped you." "That's ridiculous. It's also a problem." Dante set the phone down, his jaw tight. "Elena, there's something you need to know about your husband." Ice flooded my veins. "What?" "Marcus Castellano. Works for Henderson and Associates, right? Accounting firm?" "Yes. Why?" Dante's eyes met mine, and what I saw there made my stomach drop. "Because Henderson and Associates has been laundering money for the Russo family for the past 5 years. And your husband? He's not just an accountant. He's their bagman." The room spun. "No, that's not possible. Marcus is boring. He's safe. He's working for my enemies." Dante sat up, suddenly all business. "And if he knows you're with me? Elena, you're in danger. Real danger. What are you saying?" His hand cupped my face, gentle despite the urgency in his voice. "I'm saying your ordinary, neglectful husband might have just made you the most valuable piece on a very dangerous board." I couldn't breathe. Marcus, my boring, workaholic, emotionally distant husband, was laundering money for the Mafia, for Dante's enemies. "No." I shook my head, pulling away from Dante. "No, you're wrong. Marcus is an accountant. He does taxes and audits, and moves millions of dollars through offshore accounts for the Russo family." Dante's voice was gentle but firm. "Elena, I'm sorry. I had him checked out after last night. Standard procedure when someone enters my life. I needed to know who you were, what connections you investigated me?" The betrayal stung, even though I understood why. "I investigated everyone around you. Your friends, your family, your husband." He reached for me, but I flinched away. "And what I found? Elena, your marriage wasn't falling apart because of neglect. It was falling apart because Marcus has been living a double life." My mind raced, connecting dots I'd been too blind to see. The late nights at the office, the mysterious phone calls, the way he'd go pale when certain clients were mentioned, the expensive watch that appeared last Christmas, too expensive for his salary. Oh God, I pressed my hands to my face. "I'm an idiot. I'm such an idiot." "You're not. You trusted your husband. That's what people do." Dante moved closer, and this time I let him pull me against his chest. "But now you need to understand the situation. The Russos and my family have been at war for territory for the past decade. It's been cold, mostly legal battles, business competition, but if they find out you're with me, I become leverage." "Yes." His arms tightened around me. "And the Russos don't play nice. They'll use you to get to me, or use me to control you. Either way, you're in the crossfire." Fear crawled up my spine. "What do I do?" "You stay here. With me. Where I can protect you." He pulled back to look at me, his expression deadly serious. "No going home. No meeting Marcus alone. No contact with anyone until we figure out how deep he's in and whether he's told the Russos about us yet. This is insane." Yesterday I was worrying about dry cleaning and anniversary dinners. Now I'm hiding from the mob? Now you're being protected by the mob, he corrected. There's a difference. The Russos want to hurt you. I want to keep you safe. My phone buzzed again. Dante grabbed it before I could, his jaw tightening as he read. What does it say? He knows you're here. He's threatening to come get you himself. Dante's voice went cold. And he says if I don't, return you by midnight. He's calling in favors. With the Russos. Let me talk to him. Let me explain. No. Dante stood, suddenly all deadly grace and controlled violence. You talk to him. You give away information. He doesn't get to know where you are, what you're thinking, or what you know. He made his choice when he climbed into bed with my enemies. He's still my husband. Not for long. Dante pulled out his own phone, pressing a button. Vincent, I need you at my place. Now. And bring Luca. We have a Russo problem. He hung up, then turned back to me. Get dressed. We're not doing this here. Doing what? Dealing with your husband. His smile was sharp, dangerous. He wants you back? He can come ask for you himself. Face to face. Man to man. Dante, no. He'll bring the Russos. I'm counting on it. He pulled me close, kissing me hard and possessive. Trust me. I've been playing this game since I was 16. Marcus Castellano doesn't get to threaten what's mine and walk away. 20 minutes later, I sat in Dante's living room, wearing borrowed clothes, one of his dress shirts, and a pair of sweats that I'd had to roll at the waist. Vincent and Luca, the men from the bar last night, stood by the windows like dark sentinels. She shouldn't be here for this, Vincent said quietly to Dante. If things go south, then she sees exactly what kind of man she's chosen. Dante's hand found mine, threading our fingers together. No more secrets. No more illusions. She wants my world. She gets all of it. The elevator dinged. Every muscle in Dante's body coiled tight. Vincent and Luca shifted, hands moving to weapons I couldn't see but knew were there. The doors opened. Marcus stepped out, and he looked nothing like the man I'd left this afternoon. His hair was disheveled, his tie crooked, his eyes wild with something between fear and rage. Behind him stood two men I'd never seen, older, harder, with faces that promised violence. Elena. Marcus's voice cracked when he saw me. Thank God. Come on, we're leaving. I didn't move. Elena, now. These people are dangerous. I know who they are. I stood, Dante rising with me. And I know who you are, Marcus. What you've been doing. The Russos, the money laundering, all of it. His face went chalk white. I don't know what he told you, but don't insult her intelligence. Dante cut in smoothly. She's smart enough to connect the dots once someone points them out. Question is, Marcus, how long were you planning to keep lying to her? Another year? 5? Until the FBI came knocking? One of the men behind Marcus stepped forward, older, silver-haired, with eyes like a shark. Moretti, didn't expect to see you involved in domestic disputes. Thought you had better things to do than steal accountants' wives. Carlo Russo. Dante's smile was all teeth. Didn't realize Henderson and Associates was important enough to warrant the underboss's personal attention. What's wrong? Running low on legitimate CPAs? The girl comes with us. Carlo's voice was flat, final. She's Castellano's wife. Family business. She stopped being his wife the moment she took off her ring. And she stopped being your business the second she became mine. Dante's voice dropped to something lethal. You want her? You go through me. The temperature in the room plummeted. You're starting a war over a piece of ass? Carlo's laugh was ugly. I expected better from you, Moretti. Dante moved so fast I almost didn't see it. 1 second he was beside me. The next, he had Carlo by the throat, slamming him against the wall with enough force to crack the plaster. Call her that again, Dante whispered, his voice pure death. And I'll show you exactly what starting a war looks like. She's not a piece of anything. She's mine. And you will speak about her with respect or you won't speak at all. Are we clear? Vincent and Luca had their guns out now, trained on Russo's second man. Marcus stood frozen, trapped between the two families, looking small and pathetic. Carlo wheezed, his face reddening, but managed to nod. Dante released him, stepping back with fluid grace. Now, let's discuss this like civilized people. Marcus wants his wife back. I want him to crawl back to whatever hole he came from and never speak her name again. What do you want, Carlo? Carlo straightened his tie, murder in his eyes. We want what we paid for. Castellano belongs to us. His wife is part of the package. I'm not a package, I said, my voice stronger than I felt. And I don't belong to anyone. You belong to me, both Marcus and Dante said at the same time. The difference was, when Dante said it, it felt like a promise. When Marcus said it, it sounded like ownership. No, Marcus, I don't. I stepped closer to Dante, making my choice visible. Not anymore. Not after tonight. Not after finding out you've been lying to me for years. Elena, please. Marcus's voice broke, and I saw genuine fear in his eyes now. You don't understand. The Russos, if I don't deliver for them, then maybe you shouldn't have made deals with devils. I looked at Carlo. I want a divorce. Clean, quick, uncontested. Marcus gets the house, the cars, whatever he wants. I get my freedom. We're done. It's not that simple, Carlo said. You've seen things, heard things. You're a liability now. So, kill me. The words came out before I could stop them. Reckless and brave and insane. If that's your solution to liabilities, go ahead. But you should know I recorded this entire conversation, audio and video, and if I don't check in with my lawyer in exactly 1 hour, it goes straight to the FBI. The lie was perfect, delivered with just enough confidence to be believable. Dante's hand found my back, and I felt his approval in the gentle pressure. Carlo's eyes narrowed. You're bluffing. Try me. I crossed my arms. I was married to your accountant for 3 years. You think I didn't learn a few things? About covering my ass? Silence. Thick and dangerous. Then Carlo laughed, a genuine sound of surprise. Well, Moretti, I see why you like her. She's got balls. He looked at Marcus with disgust. And you let this one get away? You're even more useless than I thought. Carlo, please. Marcus started. Shut up. Carlo waved him off like a bothersome fly. Fine. The girl goes free. Divorce happens quietly. But Castellano stays with us. And Moretti? His smile was sharp. You just made this personal. Remember that when things get ugly. I'm counting on it, Dante said calmly. Carlo and his associate left, dragging Marcus with them. At the elevator, Marcus turned back, and the look he gave me was pure hatred. You'll regret this, he said quietly. Both of you. Then they were gone. The moment the elevator doors closed, my legs gave out. Dante caught me, lowering us both to the couch. I was shaking so hard my teeth chattered. That was the stupidest, bravest thing I've ever seen, he murmured into my hair. A recording? Elena, that was genius. I don't have a recording. I know, but they don't. He pulled back, cupping my face. You just negotiated with one of the most dangerous men in New York and won. Do you understand what that means? That I'm insane? That you're perfect. He kissed me, deep and claiming. And that you're definitely mine now. No going back. Good, I whispered against his lips. Because I'm terrified and I need you to tell me this is going to be okay. It's not. His honesty was brutal and refreshing. It's going to be dangerous and complicated and probably violent. The Russos don't forgive insults. And you just called their bluff in front of their underboss. Great pep talk. But, he continued, his arms tightening around me, I'm very good at dangerous and complicated and violent. And now that I know you can hold your own in a room full of criminals, Elena, you're not just mine. You're my equal. My partner. After one day. After watching you face down Carlo Russo without flinching. After seeing you choose yourself over safety. After knowing what you're willing to risk for freedom. He kissed my forehead. Time doesn't matter. Connection does. And we have it. Vincent cleared his throat. Boss, we should move her. If the Russos know she's here, they're not stupid enough to hit my building. But you're right, we need a safe house. Dante stood, pulling me with him. Pack a bag. We're leaving in 10 minutes. Where are we going? His smile was dark and promising. Somewhere no one will find you. Somewhere I can keep you safe while we plan our next move. Somewhere. He leaned close, his lips brushing my ear. I can have you all to myself without interruption. Heat flooded through me despite the fear. You're impossible. And you're mine. He kissed me once more. Now move. We have a war to prepare for. As I followed him to pack, one thought echoed through my mind. I'd walked away from safety and straight into chaos, and I'd never felt more alive. The safe house wasn't what I expected. I'd imagined something out of a crime movie, dingy, industrial, all concrete and steel. Instead, Dante drove us to a sprawling estate in Westchester, hidden behind high walls and old-growth trees. The house itself was a restored colonial, elegant and warm, with lights glowing in the windows like a promise of sanctuary. "This was my mother's favorite place," Dante said quietly as we pulled through the gates. "She used to escape here when the city got too loud, when my father's world got too heavy. It's beautiful. It's safe. That's what matters." He parked in the circular drive, and Vincent and Luca pulled up behind us in a separate car. "The property has security cameras, guards, the works. No one gets in without my knowing. You'll be protected here." Protected. The word should have made me feel better. Instead, it reminded me how much danger I'd walked into. Inside, the house smelled like cedar and old books. Hardwood floors, antique furniture, paintings on every wall. It felt lived in, loved. Nothing like Dante's sleek Manhattan apartment. "Master bedroom is upstairs," Dante said, his hand at the small of my back. "Vincent and Luca will take the guest rooms. Guard rotation starts at midnight. How long do we have to stay here?" "Until I neutralize the Russo threat. Could be days. Could be weeks." He turned to me, his expression serious. "I know this isn't what you signed up for. If you want out, I don't." The words came out firm, certain. "I chose this. I chose you. I'm not running now just because it got complicated." Something blazed in his eyes, pride, desire, possession. "Good. Because I meant what I said earlier. You're mine, Elena, and I protect what's mine." Vincent appeared in the doorway. "Perimeter's secure. I've got men on the gates and the main road. No one's getting close without us knowing." "Good. You and Luca get some rest. I'll take first. Watch. Boss, you need sleep too." "I'll sleep when she's safe." Dante's tone left no room for argument. "Go." Vincent nodded and disappeared. Dante locked the front door, checked his phone, then finally turned his full attention to me. "Hungry? Starving, actually. I realized I hadn't eaten since that lemon cookie at the cafe this morning, a lifetime ago. Come on, let me cook for you." "You cook?" His smile was soft, almost shy. "My mother insisted. Said a man who couldn't feed himself was only half raised." In the kitchen, a gorgeous space with marble counters and copper pots hanging from hooks, Dante moved with surprising ease. He pulled ingredients from the refrigerator, which someone had clearly stocked recently. "You keep this place ready?" I asked, watching him work. "Always. Never know when you'll need to disappear." He began chopping vegetables with professional precision. "In my world, having bolt holes is survival." "That sounds exhausting." "It is." He glanced at me, something vulnerable in his expression. "But having someone to share them with? That's new." My heart clenched. "You've never brought anyone here before?" "Never." He set down the knife, crossing to me. "This was my mother's sanctuary. The one place in her life that was hers, separate from my father's empire. I don't bring people here lightly." "Why me?" "Because you're not people. You're..." He cupped my face, his thumb tracing my cheekbone. "You're everything I didn't know I was looking for. And I'll be damned if the Russos take you from me before I've had a chance to show you what that means." He kissed me, slow and deep, like we had all the time in the world instead of being hunted by mobsters. When we broke apart, I was breathless. "Your vegetables are going to burn. Worth it." But he returned to cooking, and I watched him work, marveling at this man who could threaten death one moment and make me dinner the next. We ate at the kitchen table, simple pasta with vegetables, and wine that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget used to. The domesticity of it was surreal. 2 days ago, I'd been a neglected housewife. Now I was eating dinner with a crime lord in his secret safe house while hiding from enemies. "What are you thinking?" Dante asked, refilling my wine. "That my life has become completely insane." "Regrets?" I looked at him, this beautiful, dangerous man who'd given me back my life. "Not one." His smile was devastating. "Good. Because I have plans for you, Elena Castellano." "Not Castellano much longer." "No." His eyes darkened. "What will you be? After the divorce?" "I don't know. My maiden name was Torres. But that feels like someone else's life, too." I paused, the wine making me brave. "What's your mother's maiden name?" Dante's expression shifted surprise, then something tender. "De Luca." "Why?" "Elena De Luca." I tested the sound of it. A fresh start. A new name for a new life. You'd take her name? His voice was rough, thick, with emotion. If you don't mind. She sounds like someone I'd like to have known. Dante stood so abruptly his chair scraped. Then he was pulling me up, kissing me with barely restrained intensity. My mother would have loved you, he said against my lips. She would have seen exactly what I see, strength, courage, fire. What else do you see? Mine. He lifted me onto the counter, stepping between my legs. I see mine. Now and always. His hand slid under the borrowed shirt I wore, and heat flooded through me. We'd made love once already, but this felt different. More urgent, more desperate. Like we both needed to prove we were alive. That we'd survived. That despite everything, we'd found each other. Bedroom? I whispered. Too far. His teeth grazed my neck. Here. Now. And God help me. I let him. Let him claim me in his mother's kitchen. Let myself fall apart in his arms. Let the fear and danger and insanity of the day dissolve into pleasure so intense I forgot my own name. After, tangled together on the kitchen floor with our clothes scattered around us, Dante traced lazy patterns on my bare shoulder. I need to tell you something, he said quietly. My stomach dropped. What? The Russos won't let this go. What happened tonight, you standing up to Carlo? Choosing me over Marcus. It was an insult. A challenge. I know. Which means they'll retaliate. Not just at me. At you. His arm tightened around me. They'll try to hurt you to hurt me, or hurt me to control you. Either way, the next few weeks are going to be brutal. I turned to face him. What are you saying? I'm saying you still have a choice. I can have you on a plane tonight. New identity, new city, enough money to start over anywhere in the world. His jaw tightened. You'd be safe. Free from all of this. Without you. Without me. I studied his face, the sharp angles, the storm-gray eyes, the barely controlled violence that simmered just beneath his carefully maintained control. This man had given me everything Marcus never did. Attention, desire, the feeling of being truly seen. But more than that, he'd given me truth. Brutal, dangerous, complicated truth. No, I said firmly. Elena, no. I sat up, pulling his shirt on. I'm not running. I'm not hiding. You said I was yours? Well, that goes both ways. You're mine too, Dante Moretti. And I don't abandon what's mine just because things get dangerous. Pride and fear warred in his expression. You could die. I could have died in my marriage slowly, quietly, one forgotten anniversary at a time. At least this way, I'll die knowing I lived first. I cupped his face, forcing him to meet my eyes. I choose you. I choose this. All of it. Understand? You're going to be the death of me, he whispered. Or the making of you. I kissed him softly. Either way, we're in this together now. He pulled me back down, holding me like I might disappear. Together. We stayed like that for a long time, wrapped in each other on the kitchen floor, while outside the walls, danger gathered like storm clouds. Later, in the master bedroom, a beautiful space with French doors leading to a balcony, I lay in Dante's arms, unable to sleep despite exhaustion. Tell me about her, I said quietly. Your mother. Dante was silent for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, she was kind, too kind for our world. She saw the best in people, even when there was no best to see. His voice was distant, remembering. She loved art and music and books, hated violence, hated what my father did, what he was building, but she loved him anyway, and it killed her, slowly. The compromises, the secrets, the blood that never quite washed off, no matter how hard she tried to ignore it. How old were you when she died? 17. Old enough to understand, too young to save her. His arms tightened. She got sick cancer, and I think part of her was relieved. Finally had an excuse to stop pretending everything was okay. I'm sorry. Don't be. She made her choices. Just like you're making yours. He turned to look at me. But Elena, I need you to understand something. My mother loved my father, and it destroyed her. Because she tried to change him, tried to make him softer, gentler, less of what he was. And he couldn't be. Violence is in my blood. Darkness is part of who I am. I know. Do you? His eyes searched mine. Because I won't change for you. I can't. This is who I am, dangerous, ruthless. willing to do terrible things to protect what's mine. If you stay with me, you're accepting all of that. I thought about it, really thought about it. About the man who'd made Carlo Russo back down with violence. The man who'd investigated my life without asking. The man who'd built an empire on fear and power. Then I thought about the man who'd checked to make sure I got home safely. Who'd brought me to a cafe because he knew I needed gentle. Who'd shared his mother's sanctuary with me. Who looked at me like I was something precious and rare. I'm not your mother, I said finally. I'm not trying to change you. I'm not asking you to be softer or gentler. I see who you are, Dante. All of you. The darkness and the light. And I'm choosing it. Choosing you. Exactly as you are. His kiss was reverent, worshipful. How did I get so lucky? You showed up. I smiled against his lips. That's all it took. He made love to me again, slower this time, like he was memorizing every curve, every sigh, every moment. And afterward, I finally slept, wrapped in his arms, safe in the eye of a hurricane. I didn't hear the gunshots until it was too late. The window exploded inward in a shower of glass. Dante was moving before I could even process what was happening, throwing his body over mine as bullets tore through the room. "Stay down!" he roared. More gunfire, shouting from downstairs. Vincent's voice, barking orders. The Russos had found us, and the war had just begun. Time fragmented, into chaos. Dante rolled us off the bed, keeping his body between me and the shattered window. Glass crunched beneath us. My ears rang from the gunfire. Somewhere downstairs, men were shouting Vincent's voice, Luca's, others I didn't recognize. "Stay here." Dante grabbed a gun from the nightstand. Of course, he had a gun in the nightstand and moved toward the door with lethal grace. "Get in the bathroom. Lock the door. Don't come out until I come for you." "Dante." "Now, Elena." The command in his voice left no room for argument. I scrambled toward the bathroom on shaking legs. Behind me, Dante moved into the hallway, and then more gunfire erupted so loud, so close, that I screamed. The bathroom was marble and pristine, absurdly beautiful while hell broke loose outside. I locked the door, grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a decorative vase, and pressed myself into the corner behind the toilet. Not exactly dignified, but alive. More shots, shouting, the distinctive sound of breaking glass. Men's voices, harsh and urgent, in Italian and English. "Second floor clear. Where's Moretti? Find the girl. They were looking for me." My heart hammered so hard I thought it might burst. I clutched the vase like it was actually useful, like porcelain could stop bullets, like I was anything other than completely helpless. Then, silence. Worse than the gunfire. Silence meant I didn't know who'd won. Footsteps in the bedroom. Heavy, deliberate, coming closer. The bathroom doorknob rattled. "Elena." Dante's voice, rough but unmistakably his. "Open the door. It's over." I nearly collapsed with relief. My hands shook so badly I could barely work the lock. When the door finally opened, Dante stood there, and he was covered in blood. Oh, God. I reached for him, checking for wounds, terror flooding through me. "Where are you hurt?" "Dante." "Where?" "Not mine." He caught my hands, stilling them. "Elena, look at me. I'm fine. This isn't my blood." "Whose is it?" His expression went carefully blank. "3 of the Russos' men. They're dead. Vincent took a bullet to the shoulder, but he'll live. Luca's fine." He pulled me out of the bathroom, away from the window. "We need to move. Now. If they sent one team, they'll send another." My legs wouldn't work properly. The adrenaline crash hit me all at once, making everything feel distant and unreal. Dante cursed softly, then simply lifted me, carrying me out of the bedroom and down the stairs like I weighed nothing. The house looked like a war zone. Bullet holes in the walls, shattered glass everywhere, furniture overturned, and blood not a lot, but enough staining the hardwood floors. Vincent sat in the kitchen, Luca wrapping his shoulder while he hissed in pain. 3 bodies lay covered with sheets near the back door. I tried not to look, tried not to imagine what was underneath those sheets. Failed. "Vincent." Dante's voice was pure authority. "Status." "They came through the east wall, cut the fence, avoided the cameras. Professional job. They knew the property layout." Vincent winced as Luca tightened the bandage. "We got them all, but boss, they had communication equipment. If they didn't report in, Russo will know something went wrong." We've got maybe 30 minutes before reinforcements arrive. Then we leave in 20. Dante set me down gently. Luca, get the cars ready. Vincent, can you travel? I can do whatever needs doing. Good. Because we're going to the city, to my father's old estate in Queens. The one Russo doesn't know about. Dante's jaw tightened. And then I'm ending this. Tonight. Boss, I'm done playing defense. They came to my mother's house. They tried to kill Elena. The fury in his voice was cold, controlled, and absolutely terrifying. Carlo Russo just signed his own death warrant. The casual way he said it, like he was planning a business meeting. Not a murder, made my blood run cold. Dante. My voice came out. Small. What are you going to do? He looked at me, and in his eyes, I saw the man everyone else saw. The man I'd only glimpsed before. No softness, no vulnerability, just pure, lethal intent. What I should have done the moment he disrespected you. He cupped my face, and the gentleness of the gesture contrasted sharply with the violence in his words. I'm going to remind Carlo Russo why people fear the Moretti name, and I'm going to make sure he never threatens you again. You mean you're going to kill him? Yes. No hesitation. No apology. Does that frighten you? It should have. 24 hours ago it would have. But standing in this destroyed house, still shaking from being shot at, I felt something else entirely. Relief. No, I whispered. It doesn't. Something flickered in his expression, surprise, approval, dark satisfaction. Good, because this is who I am, Elena. This is what happens when someone threatens what's mine. No mercy, no second chances, just elimination of the threat. He kissed me, hard and claiming, tasting like violence and possession. Get her ready to move, he told Luca. 5 minutes. Then he was gone, stepping over bodies like they were furniture, pulling out his phone to make calls that would set terrible things in motion. Luca appeared at my elbow with a black duffel bag. Miss Elena? We need to get you dressed. Something warm, it's going to be a long night. I nodded numbly, letting him lead me to a downstairs bedroom that hadn't been damaged in the attack. He set down the bag and tactfully turned his back while I changed into jeans and a sweater someone had packed. Probably Vincent, being efficient even while bleeding. Luca? I said as I pulled on shoes. Has this happened before? Attacks like this? Few times. Comes with the territory. He glanced back, his young face serious. But boss has never reacted like this. Usually he's methodical, patient, waits for the perfect moment to strike back. He paused. With you, here? He's not waiting. He's going nuclear. Is that bad? Depends on your perspective. Luca's smile was grim. For Russo, definitely bad. For you? Means you've got a man willing to burn down the world to keep you safe. Not many women can say that. Not many women would want to, I muttered. Maybe not. But you're not most women, are you? He tilted his head, studying me. You didn't scream when the shooting started. Didn't panic when you saw the blood. Didn't try to run when boss told you what he's planning. You just accepted it. Had I? I thought about it. About my reaction, or lack thereof, to Dante's casual discussion of murder. About how I felt more relieved than horrified at his promise of violence. I guess I did. That's because you're built for this world. You just didn't know it yet. Luca grinned. Boss chose well. Before I could respond, Dante appeared in the doorway. He'd changed black clothes, tactical boots, and cleaned the blood from his skin. He looked dangerous and beautiful and like death in human form. Cars are ready. We move now. His eyes found mine. Stay close to me. Don't leave my side. If I tell you to run, you run. Understood? Yes, good girl. He held out his hand. Let's go. The drive to Queens was tense and silent. I sat in the back of an armored SUV with Dante, his arm around me, his other hand on his phone as he coordinated, whatever he was coordinating. Vincent and Luca followed in a second vehicle. How many men do you have? I asked quietly. Enough. He glanced at me. The Morettis control the docks, which means we control the longshoremen. 5,000 men who work for us, directly or indirectly. The Russos have numbers too, but their territory is split. Ours is consolidated. So you'll win. I always win. No arrogance, just fact. The question is how much blood gets spilled in the process. His phone buzzed. He answered in rapid Italian, his expression darkening. What? I asked when he hung up. Russos called a meeting. Neutral ground. Tomorrow night. His jaw tightened. He wants to negotiate. That's good, isn't it? No more violence? Elena. He turned to face me fully. Men like Carlo Russo don't negotiate. They trap. This is a setup. He wants to draw me out, maybe grab you in the process. Use you as leverage. Then don't go. I have to. If I don't, I look weak. And weakness in my world is death. He pulled me closer. But I'm not walking into an ambush blind. I'll have 50 men positioned around the meeting site, snipers on the roofs, exits planned. And you, his eyes bored into mine, will be locked in a vault 3 miles away with guards who have orders to shoot anyone who tries to get to you. A vault? My father's panic room, reinforced steel, air filtration, enough supplies to last a month, completely secure. His hand cupped my face. I need to know you're safe. That no matter what happens at that meeting, Russo can't get to you. What if something happens to you? It won't, but what if? Then Vincent has instructions. He'll get you out of the city, out of the country if necessary. New identity, new life. Everything you need. His voice roughened. But that's not going to happen. I'm coming back to you, Elena. I promise. The certainty in his voice should have been comforting. Instead, it terrified me. Because men like Dante didn't make promises they couldn't keep. Which meant he was willing to do whatever it took, risk anything, sacrifice anyone to come back to me, even himself. Dante, the words stuck in my throat. Too soon, too fast, too real. I know. He kissed me, soft and devastating. I know, Elena. I feel it too. We pulled up to an estate in Queens smaller than the Westchester property, but no less secure. High walls, armed guards, cameras everywhere, a fortress. Dante led me inside, through rooms that smelled like old money and older secrets, down a flight of stairs to a reinforced steel door. The vault, he said, punching in a code. The door swung open, revealing a room that was less prison and more luxury bunker. Bed, bathroom, kitchenette, surveillance monitors showing every angle of the property. I'll be back in 36 hours, Dante said, pulling me into his arms. Wait for me. I'll wait forever if I have to. His kiss was fierce, desperate, full of everything we hadn't said yet. When he pulled back, his eyes were molten silver. You're mine, he whispered. Say it. I'm yours. And I'm... His voice broke. God damn it, Elena. I'm yours too. Completely. Irrevocably. I didn't plan this. Didn't want to care about anyone this much. But here we are. Here we are, I echoed. He kissed me one last time, then stepped back, locked the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone but me or Vincent. Not Luca, not the guards. No one. Understand? I understand. Good. He moved toward the door, then paused. Elena, if something does happen, if somehow this goes wrong, know that meeting you was the best thing that ever happened to me. You made me remember what it felt like to want something more than power, to want someone more than control. Nothing's going to happen, I said firmly. You're going to go to that meeting, handle Carlo Russo, and come back to me. Because we're not done yet. We're just getting started. His smile was beautiful and sad. Yes, we are. Then he was gone. The door swung shut, the locks engaged with heavy, final clicks. And I was alone in a vault, waiting for the man I'd fallen for in 48 hours to return from a meeting that might get him killed. I sat on the bed, staring at the surveillance monitors, watching Dante's car disappear into the night. And for the first time since this all began, I let myself cry. Not from fear, not from regret, but from the terrifying, overwhelming realization that I'd fallen completely, irrevocably in love with a man who lived in darkness. And I wouldn't change a single thing. 36 hours in a vault felt like 36 years. I paced. I ate food I couldn't taste. I watched the surveillance monitors obsessively, tracking every movement outside, jumping at every shadow. Vincent checked in every few hours through the intercom, his voice steady and reassuring. Boss is fine. Everything's on schedule. But I could hear the tension underneath. This wasn't routine. This was dangerous. I'd found books on the shelves, old classics. Probably his father's collection. I tried to read. The words swam meaninglessly across the pages. All I could think about was Dante walking into a trap, about Carlo Russo's shark eyes, about the bodies covered in sheets in that beautiful house, about how quickly violence had become normal. 24 hours in, I realized I hadn't thought about Marcus once. My husband, ex-husband, soon had completely evaporated from my mind. 3 years of marriage, erased by 2 days with a man who made me feel alive. Was that wrong? Probably. Did I care? No. At the 30-hour mark, the intercom crackled. "Miss Elena?" Vincent's voice. But something was off. Strained. Boss is on his way back. Should be there within the hour. Relief flooded through me so intensely I had to sit down. "Is he okay?" "He's fine. Just get ready. He'll want to see you immediately." The line went dead before I could ask what that meant. I changed into clean clothes, another borrowed outfit, black pants and a soft gray sweater. Brushed my hair. Tried to look like I hadn't been slowly losing my mind in isolation. 40 minutes later, I heard footsteps outside the vault. Heavy, familiar, the locks disengaged. The door swung open. Dante stood there, and my heart stopped. He was alive, whole, but something was different. His clothes were immaculate dark suit, no tie, the top buttons of his shirt undone. No blood this time, no visible damage. But his eyes were haunted. "Elena." My name came out rough, desperate. He crossed the space between us in 2 strides, pulling me into his arms so tightly I could barely breathe. "God, Elena, what happened?" I pulled back to look at him. "Tell me what happened." "I killed him." The words were flat, emotionless. "Carlo Russo is dead, along with 6 of his men." The casualness of it, 6 men, should have horrified me. Instead, I just held him tighter. "Were you hurt?" "No." He buried his face in my hair. "Not a scratch. It was clean, efficient, exactly as planned." "Then why do you look like you're falling apart?" He didn't answer immediately. Just held me, his hands trembling slightly against my back. "Finally, because I realized something tonight, while I was standing in that warehouse with my gun to Russo's head. While he was begging for his life." Dante pulled back, his storm gray eyes meeting mine. "I realized that I would burn down the entire city for you, that there's nothing I wouldn't do, no line I wouldn't cross, to keep you safe. And that terrifies me." "Why?" "Because the last time I loved someone that much, I couldn't save her." His voice cracked. "My mother. I was 17, and I watched her die slowly, and I couldn't do anything. I swore I'd never care about anyone that much again. Never give anyone that power over me, Dante. And then you walked into my bar in that red dress, heartbroken and alone, and I was lost." His hands cupped my face, trembling. 2 days. I've known you for 2 days, Elena, and I'm completely, utterly lost." "So am I whispered. "I'm terrified too. This is crazy, the violence, the danger. How fast this is happening. I should run. I should be horrified by what you did tonight. But I'm not. All I feel is relief that you're back, that you're safe, that you're mine. I'm yours," he agreed roughly. "Completely. Forever. Whether you want that or not. I want it." I pulled his mouth to mine, kissing him with all the fear and relief and desperate love I'd been holding in for 36 hours. "I want all of it. You, your world, your darkness. I want everything, Dante." He made a sound low in his throat, part growl, part surrender, and lifted me, carrying me to the bed. We fell together in a tangle of desperate hands and hungry mouths, stripping away clothes and barriers and any remaining pretense that this was anything other than what it was. Love. Dangerous, reckless, all-consuming love. He made love to me like a man possessed, like he needed to prove I was real, that I was here, that we'd both survived. I matched him, claiming him as thoroughly as he claimed me, marking him with my hands and mouth and desperate whispers. "Mine," I breathed against his skin. "You're mine, Dante Moretti. Yours," he groaned. "Always yours. Only yours." Afterward, we lay tangled together, hearts racing, skin slick with sweat. The vault's cold air raised goosebumps, but Dante's body kept me warm. "Tell me what happened," I said quietly. "All of it." He was silent for a long moment. Then, the meeting was at a warehouse on the waterfront. Neutral territory, supposedly. Russo showed up with 30 men. I had 50 positioned around the perimeter, snipers, ground troops, backup waiting in vehicles. He thought he had the advantage. He was wrong. His hand traced lazy patterns on my shoulder, but his voice was distant, mechanical. He tried to negotiate at first. Wanted me to hand you over. Claimed you were legally Marcus's wife and therefore Russo property. I told him you weren't property, that you'd made your choice, that this was over. What did he say? He laughed, said I'd gone soft, that I was letting a woman make me weak. Dante's jaw tightened. Then he pulled a gun, aimed it at Vincent, thinking I'd negotiate if my second's life was on the line. But you didn't. No. His eyes met mine, cold and certain. I put a bullet between his eyes before he could pull the trigger. Then his men opened fire, and my men returned it. 30 seconds, and it was over. Russo dead. 6 of his lieutenants dead. Complete decimation of his leadership. He said it so matter-of-factly, like discussing a business transaction, not mass murder. The rest of his organization? I asked. Scattered, leaderless. By tomorrow morning, they'll be absorbed into other families or running for the borders. Dante's smile was sharp, satisfied. The Russo threat is eliminated. You're safe now, Elena. Completely safe. Safe. The word should have brought relief. Instead, it brought questions. What about Marcus? What about him? He worked for Russo. If Russo's dead, Marcus Castellano is currently in FBI custody, singing like a canary about money laundering, tax evasion, and racketeering. Dante's expression was neutral. Anonymous tip, completely untraceable, led to his arrest this morning. He'll spend the next 20 years in federal prison. Your divorce will be automatic. Criminal conviction makes it easy. I stared at him. You set him up. I protected you. There's a difference. He sat up, pulling me with him. As long as Marcus was free, he was a threat. He knew about us. Could use that information against you in court. Make things ugly. This way, he's gone. You're free. Clean break. You destroyed his life. He destroyed his own life when he chose to work for my enemies. No remorse. No guilt. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. He made his choices. I made mine. Mine keep you safe. The ruthlessness of it should have frightened me. The casual way he'd orchestrated a man's imprisonment, ended 7 lives, eliminated an entire criminal organization all in less than 2 days. Instead, I felt something else entirely. Gratitude. Thank you, I whispered. Dante's eyes widened slightly. For what? For protecting me, for caring enough to be ruthless, for being exactly who you are. I cupped his face, forcing him to see the truth in my eyes. I know what you did. I know what you are. And I'm not afraid. I'm grateful. You shouldn't be grateful for violence. I'm grateful for you. I kissed him softly. For everything you've done to keep me safe. For showing me what it means to be someone's priority. Their obsession. Their everything. He pulled me into his lap, holding me close. You make me want to be better. Softer. Less violent. Don't. I pulled back to look at him. Don't change for me. I don't want you softer. I want you exactly as you are, dangerous, ruthless, and mine. His laugh was startled, genuine. Most women would run screaming. I'm not most women. No. His smile was tender, devastating. You're definitely not. He kissed me again, slow and sweet, like we had all the time in the world now. Like the danger was past and we could finally breathe. What happens now? I asked against his lips. Now? He stood, pulling me up with him. Now I take you home, to my apartment, where you'll stay with me. In my bed, in my life. His eyes burned into mine. If you want that, I want that. Even knowing what it means? That you'll be known as Dante Moretti's woman? That people will fear you or court you or try to use you to get to me? Especially knowing that, I stepped closer, pressing against him. Because it also means I'll be protected, cherished, loved by a man who would burn down the world for me. I'll take that trade any day. You deserve better. I deserve you. I kissed him hard. And you deserve someone who sees all of you, the darkness and the light, and chooses to stay anyway. So stop trying to push me away and accept that you're stuck with me. His arms came around me, crushing me close. Stuck with you. God, Elena, I don't deserve you. But I'm keeping you anyway. Good. I smiled against his chest. Because I'm not going anywhere. We left the vault together, climbing back into daylight and reality. Vincent waited by the car, his arm in a sling but his expression satisfied. Boss. Miss Elena. He nodded to us both. The Russo situation is fully contained. No blowback expected. The other, Families have already started negotiating for territory. Good. Set up meetings for next week. Let them fight over the scraps. Dante helped me into the car. I'm taking a few days. No interruptions unless the city's on fire. Vincent's eyebrows rose. A few days? Boss, you haven't taken time off in 5 years. I have priorities now. Dante's hand found mine. And she's more important than territory disputes. Vincent glanced at me, then back at Dante, and something like respect crossed his face. Understood. I'll handle everything. You too. Enjoy yourselves. The drive back to Manhattan felt surreal. The city looked the same, busy streets, honking taxis, people rushing past without knowing that 7 men had died last night, that an entire criminal empire had fallen. Life just continued. What are you thinking? Dante asked, watching me. That the world kept spinning. That everything that happened, the shooting, the meeting, Russo's death, it's invisible. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. That's how our world works. The real power happens in shadows. He squeezed my hand. Does that bother you? No. I turned to look at him. It makes me feel free. Like I can be anyone I want. Like the rules don't apply anymore. They don't. Not in my world. His smile was dark, promising. You can be anyone you want, Elena. Do anything you want. As long as you're mine. Always yours. We arrived at his building as sunset painted the sky in shades of fire. The doorman greeted us with careful respect, his eyes flickering over me with new awareness. Word had spread. I was Dante Moretti's woman now. In the elevator, Dante pulled me close. Last chance. Once we go up there, once you cross this threshold as mine, there's no going back. You'll be part of my world. My life. All of it. I crossed that threshold 2 days ago when I kissed you in that gallery. I wrapped my arms around his neck. I'm already part of your world, Dante. Already yours. This is just making it official. The elevator opened into his penthouse. Home. Dante lifted me in his arms, carrying me across the threshold like a bride. Welcome home, Elena. Home, I repeated, and the word had never sounded more right. He carried me to his bedroom, laid me gently on his bed. Then he proceeded to show me in excruciating detail exactly what being his meant, and I surrendered to it completely. 3 months later, I woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and Dante's arm draped possessively across my waist. The city sprawled below us, glittering and alive, full of people who had no idea that the woman sleeping in Dante Moretti's bed used to be someone else entirely. Elena Castellano was gone. Legally, officially, completely. The divorce had been finalized last week. Marcus's imprisonment made it swift and uncontested. I'd signed the papers as Elena Torres, my maiden name temporarily resurrected, knowing it wouldn't last long. Because today, I was becoming Elena. DeLuca, you're awake. Dante's voice was rough with sleep, his lips brushing my shoulder. Nervous? Terrified, I admitted, turning in his arms. Is it crazy that I'm more nervous about this than I was about being shot at? Probably. His smile was soft, tender, an expression he reserved only for me. But we can still call it off. Say the word and, don't you dare. I pressed my finger to his lips. I want this. I want you. I want the life we're building together. 3 months. 3 months of learning to navigate Dante's world, the meetings with other families, the carefully orchestrated power plays, the constant undercurrent of violence that was always there but rarely visible. 3 months of learning that I was stronger than I'd ever imagined, that I could hold my own in rooms full of dangerous men, that fear and love could coexist. 3 months of falling more deeply, more irrevocably in love with a man who was both my salvation and my damnation. Besides, I continued, tracing the scar on his collarbone new, from a knife fight 2 weeks ago that he dismissed as minor business. It's just a formality. I've been yours since the moment I took off my wedding ring. You've been mine since the moment you walked into my bar. His hand cupped my face. I just had to convince you of it. You didn't have to work very hard. No. His thumb traced my cheekbone. You were already breaking free. I just gave you permission to fly. The ceremony was small, just Vincent, Luca, and Lucia from the art gallery as witnesses. Not a wedding, exactly. Because Dante couldn't legally marry me yet. Too much scrutiny. Too many questions about his business dealings. But a commitment ceremony. A claiming. A promise that mattered more than any piece of paper. We stood in his mother's art gallery, surrounded by her paintings, and made vows that were both beautiful and terrifying. I promise to protect you, Dante said, his voice steady and sure. To cherish you. To show you every day that you made the right choice. I promise that you'll never doubt your worth, never feel invisible, never question whether you matter. He paused, his eyes holding mine. And I promise that anyone who tries to hurt you will answer to me. Forever. That last part, the threat wrapped in devotion, made Lucia chuckle softly. She understood. In this world, love came with teeth. My turn. I'd written my vows in the middle of the night, unable to sleep, trying to capture everything I felt. I promised to stand beside you, I said, my voice shaking slightly. Not behind you, not in your shadow, but beside you as your equal, your partner. I promise to see all of you, the darkness and the light, and love both equally. I promise never to ask you to be less than what you are. I took a breath. And I promise that this life we're building, I choose it freely. Every dangerous, beautiful, terrifying moment of it, forever. Dante slipped a ring onto my finger, white gold with a single diamond, elegant and understated. Not the ostentatious display of wealth I'd expected, but something that spoke of permanence, of forever. You're mine now, he murmured, pulling me close. Officially, irrevocably mine. I've always been yours. I kissed him, soft and sweet, surrounded by his mother's art and the people who'd become our strange, deadly family. Now the world knows it. The celebration afterward was small but perfect. Dinner at a private restaurant one Dante owned, naturally with food that tasted like heaven and wine that probably cost more than my old monthly salary. To Elena, Vincent toasted, his arm still healing but his smile genuine. The woman who tamed the untamable Dante Moretti. I didn't tame him, I protested. No, Lucia agreed, her eyes twinkling. You matched him, which is far more impressive. Dante's hand found mine under the table, squeezing gently. 3 months, and I still felt electricity every time he touched me. Later, alone in his penthouse, Dante poured us champagne and led me to the windows overlooking the city. Do you miss it? He asked quietly. Your old life? The safety? The normalcy? I thought about it. Really thought about it. About my sterile kitchen and forgotten anniversaries. About the ghost I'd been, slowly fading into walls and silence. No, I turned to face him. I don't miss safety that felt like suffocation. I don't miss being invisible. I don't miss the woman I was small and scared and convinced that quiet disappointment was the best I could hope for. And now I'm terrified half the time. I've seen things that give me nightmares. I know what you do, what you're capable of. The violence that's always just beneath the surface. I stepped closer, placing my hand over his heart. But I also know what it feels like to be truly seen, to be someone's everything, to wake up every morning knowing that I matter. That's worth the fear. You're extraordinary. His voice was rough with experience, emotion. Do you know that? Most people would run from this life, from me, but you walked straight into the fire and decided to make it your home. Because you were in the fire. I smiled, and I'd rather burn with you than freeze alone. He kissed me then, deep and claiming, tasting like champagne and promises. When we broke apart, his eyes were molten silver. I have something for you. He pulled a small box from his pocket, not a ring box, something flatter. Inside was a key, simple, unadorned, attached to a small tag with an address. What is this? The Westchester house, my mother's sanctuary. His voice was soft. I'm signing it over to you, making it legally yours. So you have somewhere that's just yours, safe, protected, separate from my world if you ever need distance. Tears burned my eyes. Dante, I know what it's like to feel trapped, to have no escape. I never want you to feel that way. His hands cupped my face. You chose this life freely. I need you to always have the choice to leave it freely too. I'm not leaving, I know, but you could, and that's important. He pressed his forehead to mine. You stay because you want to, not because you have no other option. That's the difference between my mother and you. She was trapped. You're free. Even here, in my world, in my arms, you're free. I kissed him through tears, overwhelmed by the gift. Not the house, though, that was extraordinary, but the understanding, the recognition that love without choice was just another cage. Thank you, I whispered, for seeing me, for understanding me, for giving me freedom even while claiming me. Always. His arms tightened around me. You're mine, Elena, but you're also yours. Both can be true. We made love that night with the city lights painting our skin, slow and reverent, like we were memorizing each other all over again. Afterward, wrapped in his arms, I felt something I'd never felt in 3 years of marriage, complete. The next morning I woke to find Dante already dressed, standing by the window with his phone pressed to his ear, speaking in rapid Italian. Business, always business. But when he saw me watching, his expression softened. He ended the call immediately. Good morning, Mrs. Moretti. The title was unofficial, but the way he said it made my heart skip. Technically, it's DeLuca. For now. He crossed to the bed, kissing me thoroughly. Give it a year. Once the attention from your divorce dies down, once Marcus is deeper into his sentence, we'll make it official. Proper wedding, if you want it. I don't need a wedding. I just need you. You have me. He pulled me up, into his arms, completely, irrevocably, forever. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. I glanced at it, a text from an unknown number. Unknown. Congratulations on your new life. Some of us aren't so lucky. M. Marcus. Somehow, even from federal prison, he'd found a way to reach me. The bitterness in those words was palpable. Dante read over. My shoulder, his jaw tightening. Want me to handle it? No. I deleted the message. He's already handled. He made his choices. I made mine. He doesn't get to haunt me anymore. You're sure? Completely. I turned in his arms. That life is over. That woman is gone. I'm Elena DeLuca now. And Elena DeLuca doesn't look back. Pride flickered in his eyes. No, she doesn't. A knock at the door interrupted us. Vincent's voice. Boss? We have a situation. The Castellano property, someone's been asking questions. Dante's expression shifted immediately from lover to leader. Give me 5 minutes. Copy that. He turned back to me, conflict clear on his face. I need to handle this. I know. I kissed him. Go. Do what you need to do. I'll be here when you get back. Come with me. I blinked. What? Come with me. To the meeting. Let them see that you're not just my woman, you're my partner. His eyes searched mine. If you're ready. Was I? Ready to step fully into his world? 2. Be present for the decisions. The power plays. The carefully orchestrated violence that kept his empire running. 3 months ago, I would have said no. Would have hidden in safety while he dealt with danger. But I wasn't that woman anymore. I'm ready. His smile was fierce, proud. Then get dressed. Let's show them what Elena DeLuca is made of. The meeting was in a warehouse on the dock's neutral territory, carefully chosen. Representatives from 5 families gathered around a table, discussing territory and tribute and all the invisible lines that kept the city's underworld balanced. I sat beside Dante, silent but present, watching the dynamics play out. The way men deferred to him, the way his quiet authority commanded the room, the way violence hummed beneath every word, every gesture. And I understood, finally, what real power looked like. The Castellano properties, Dante said, his voice cutting through the discussion. They revert to Moretti control. The man is in federal prison, his assets frozen. I'm claiming them. On what grounds? Asked Alessandro Ricci, head of one of the smaller families. On the grounds that his ex-wife is now mine, and everything that was his becomes mine by extension. Dante's hand found mine on the table, a clear statement. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me directly. Silence. No one was stupid enough to challenge him. Settled then. Vincent marked something in his notebook. The Castellano assets transfer to Moretti Holdings. Anything else? The meeting continued, but I barely heard it, because I realized something in that moment. I'd become part of the empire, not as decoration or leverage, but as an actual piece of the machine. Dante claiming Marcus's assets in my name wasn't just about property, it was about legitimizing me, making me visible, making me matter in a world where women were usually invisible. After, as we drove home, Dante glanced at me. You're quiet. Regretting coming? No. I smiled. Just realizing that I'm not scared anymore. 3 months ago, sitting in that room with those men would have terrified me. Today, I felt powerful. You are powerful. His hand found mine. You walked away from safety. You chose danger. You rebuilt yourself from scratch. That takes real strength, Elena. The kind that can't be taught or bought. The kind that makes people respect you, Not just fear what I'd do if they hurt you. Is that what you want? For people to respect me? I want people to see what I see, a woman who's fearless, brilliant, and stronger than she knows. He brought my hand to his lips. I want them to see my equal, not my weakness. You really think we're equals? I know we are. His eyes held mine. You make me better, Elena. You make me want to be more than just violence and power. You make me want to build something that lasts, something good. Like what? Like a future, a real one. He pulled the car over, turning to face me fully. I know it's only been 3 months. I know it's fast. But I want everything with you. Marriage, eventually. Maybe even... He paused, vulnerability flickering across his face. A family, if you want that. A family, children, growing old together in this dangerous, beautiful world we'd built. Yes, I whispered. I want all of it. His kiss was tender, reverent, full of promises and possibilities. Then you'll have it. He pulled back onto the road. Whatever you want, Elena. It's yours. 6 months later, I stood in the Westchester house, my house now watching snow fall through the windows. Dante was in the city, handling business. I'd chosen to stay here today, needing quiet, needing space to think. My hand rested on my stomach, feeling the small swell that was just starting to show. 8 weeks. 8 weeks since I'd found out I was carrying Dante's child. 8 weeks of fear and joy and overwhelming love. I hadn't told him yet. Wasn't sure how, because this changed everything. A child. Made this real in ways even our ceremony hadn't. A child meant forever. No escape. No going back. A child meant I was choosing this world not just for me, but for someone innocent and helpless. Was that fair? Was it right? The front door opened. Dante's footsteps familiar and sure. Elena? His voice echoed through the house. Vincent said you were here. Is everything okay? I turned as he entered the room, and the sight of him still took my breath away. Snow dusted his dark hair. His eyes found mine immediately, concern flickering there. I'm pregnant. The words hung between us. Simple, devastating, beautiful. Dante went completely still. What? 8 weeks. I found out last week. I've been trying to figure out how to tell you. Tears spilled over. I know it's not planned. I know it complicates everything. I know... He crossed the room in 3 strides, pulling me into his arms and kissing me senseless. When he finally pulled back, his eyes were bright with unshed tears. You're pregnant. Wonder filled his voice. We're having a baby. You're not upset? Upset? He laughed, the sound joyous and free. Elena, you just gave me everything I didn't know I wanted. A future. A family. A reason to build something better than what my father left me. His hand settled on my stomach, reverent and possessive. A baby, he whispered. Our baby. Are you sure? Because once this child exists, there's no going back. They'll be born into your world, raised in danger. They'll be born into love, he corrected, raised by parents who would die to protect them, taught to be strong, smart, fearless like their mother. His forehead pressed to mine. And yes, there will be danger, but there will also be joy and safety and everything good I can give them. Give both of you. I'm scared. So am I. His honesty was refreshing. Terrified, actually. But I've never wanted anything more than this. You, me, our child. A family built on choice and love, instead of obligation and fear. I kissed him through tears, feeling the last of my doubts dissolve. Okay, I whispered. Let's do this. Let's build something beautiful. We already have. His hand tightened on my stomach. Now we're just adding to it. Outside, snow continued to fall, blanketing the world in white, clean, fresh, full of possibility. And inside this house, my sanctuary, our future, I stood in the arms of the man I'd fallen for in 48 hours and loved more with each passing day. My husband in everything but name, the father of my child. My partner in this dangerous, beautiful life. 3 years ago, I'd been invisible, forgotten, slowly dying in a marriage that had stopped being real. Now I was Elena DeLuca, Dante Moretti's woman, mother-to-be, partner in an empire built on shadows and secrets, and I'd never been more alive. I love you, Dante murmured against my hair. More than power, more than control, more than anything. I love you too. I pulled back too. Look at him, this dangerous, beautiful man who'd given me back my life. Thank you. For what? For showing up. I smiled through tears. That anniversary when Marcus didn't. You showed up. And you've been showing up every day since. I'll show up every day for the rest of our lives. His kiss was a promise. That's what love means. Presence, choice, showing up even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Especially then. We stood there in the falling snow, planning a future that would be complicated and dangerous and absolutely perfect. Because some love stories start in darkness. Some love stories are built on danger. But the best love stories? They start with someone showing up when you need them most. And they last forever. Epilogue 1 year later. The gallery was full of people, collectors, critics, socialites, who had no idea the woman hosting the show was Dante Moretti's wife. Elena De Luca's first solo exhibition. Paintings that captured light and shadow, beauty and danger, love and violence in equal measure. She stood beside her work, 6-month-old Sophia, balanced on her hip, fielding questions and compliments with easy grace. Dante watched from across the room, Vincent beside him. She's something, Vincent observed. Walked into our world and made it hers. Didn't lose herself, just became more. Yes. Dante couldn't take his eyes off her. His wife, the mother of his child, the woman who'd chosen darkness and made it beautiful. She is. Elena's eyes found his across the crowded room, and her smile was radiant, knowing, full of love and secrets and shared history. He smiled back, raising his glass in a silent toast. To the woman who'd been left crying at a restaurant, to the man who'd shown up when she needed him most, to the love they'd built in shadows and claimed in daylight. Forever.